able to see them anymore.
Yeah, there is someone.
They're in here. Yeah, I think so. Basically, what these ants are doing now, I think they're taking them down to their little chamber, wherever it may be. I haven't quite worked out where the ant's nest is, but basically towards where all those grassy bits are. It was so fascinating to watch them, but now they're gone. Siberia, Zumi, no, I can't say that we have any ant problems in the pantry. Not at all. Let's go this way, Seb, because I saw Rex and he went down here. So we're just going to pass these pans I was telling you about earlier. I'll stop when we get to these old MudWallows. No, I can't say we have an ant problem in camp. What we do have, though, are many other problems, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. But let's go to Brent, who's got a bird hopping in a tree.
Oh, here we go. Not a bird we see too often. We hear calling often, but not one we see too often. The brew shrike. Come on, jump out into the open. Did you jump into the open for you, Dave? I didn't see where he flew. I was watching my monitor. He's still there. We've got a little bird party around us. No, there he is. Right out in the open. Quick, Dave, quick. No, down. There. Oh, look at that. So pretty. You see that red eye? A brew shrike. Now, so you can hear there's a lot of birds around us at the moment. But the brew is the only one who's easily visible. And you just go forward a skosh. He's moving that way. And there was another bird to be spotted as well. So there's a little bird party here. And let's see if we can spot one of our skulkers who just hopped into the thorn thicket. Let's have a... Where's the brew? He's still there. Out in the open there. But you got him. Oh, you got there a little... Oh, is it a little Apalus? Come on. Pop out. Yes. Oh, and a little Apalus. Yellow-breasted Apalus. They are very pretty. Give us a little... Oh, beautiful. One of the little skulking species. The Apalus are quite closely related to warblers. Now, there was also a chagra that disappeared in here, and I can't see him at the moment. Just the little Apaluses flapping about. There's the chagra. Oh, where'd that chagra go? You can see the... Come on, chagra, pop up again. Oh, there's some of the noisiest birds around. Just landed in the tree. Arrow-marked babblers. You can definitely see that streaky markings on their chest that give them their name. So when you get bird parties like this, there's mixed species that feed on different things, and that's why they move together. They also move together for safety. So when it moves, all a little bit of grooming. So arrow-marked babblers are social. They live in little flocks. They can be very, very noisy. Oh, what have we got? Chirping in front of us. I'm just waiting for it to move into a bit of a better area there. So you see the center of this little terminalia thicket. He's going to actually just come to the right. Should hop out. Oh, he's flying. Oh, it's another chagra being difficult. But, oh, listen to the sounds. Now, so one of the nice things about sitting with the bird party, as you sit longer, more and more birds sort of pop out of the woodwork. Oh, there's something at the back. So below the babblers. No, it's a little bit higher. Let me just try and move back a tiny bit. Looked like maybe a little batis. Flipping about. We can't see now. Okay, well, that was a good little bird party. So we're going to keep moving, see if we can find another bird party. Now, it seems like Taylor is telling stories about herself because she is the one that eats all the food in the pantry.
I do not. That is an absolute lie. I'm not a serious snacker. I'll tell you who the serious snackers are. So basically, just going back to what we were chatting about a little moment ago, the ants are not the problem in the camp. Let me just not to be too obvious about this. David, VM, Rebecca, culprit. Who else have I seen there? Alicia and her oats and smoothies. Conrad. I'm a chocolate thief. I'll go in there and I'll have a piece of chocolate for breakfast. I ain't scared. Brent and Craig compete for carrots and mushrooms. It's the most ridiculous thing. They eat them raw. Who else is a snack attacker there? Craig is also bad. Darby's the worst though. Midnight snacker, you hear that kitchen door open and I can promise you right now, it'll be David who will be there. Who else? And they're now accusing me. Because I watch from my room, Rebecca. When I hear, I go and I say, so I can catch the people that, you see, there's karma getting me on the thorns. I watch them. Because if I find that kettle and someone has just made tea and there's no water in it when I go there, or somebody's used the last bit of ice and there's just shavings and I don't want to make a slush puppy, when they leave the packet in there, or let me help me, or help that person. If I find you and you are the last one and you've left the salty crack box, which is basically like a salted biscuit type thing, and you've left the box and the packet back in the pantry, shoo, food police. We get upset, We get very upset. Of course, these are the challenges we face when we are living with a team of people, you can imagine. The milk box, putting empty milk boxes back in the fridge, unacceptable. Oh, Rebecca's absolute worst is we have the condiment box on the table where we've got like a whole variety of sauces and mainly just chili sauce in there. When everybody uses the things and then leave the sauces all spread out all over the table. That's Rebecca's pet hate. She cannot stand it. If you want to see her get angry very quickly, you must do that. So there are many snackers in camp. Many smoothie makers too. James is a smoothie maker. He makes a lot of smoothie. Kirsty as well. Kirsty normally is just there for moral support though. I've yet to see her actually make one of the smoothies. Trying to think. Alicia and Conrad are pretty good. I also like making smoothies sometimes. Plain ones. Becca, yes, you're quite right. I apologize to anybody in camp if I've offended you. Becca's just come to your defense and she said perhaps those of you who don't fill up the ice tray don't know the recipe. It's quite a difficult one. So what we will do is I'll do a lesson today on how to make homemade ice. But everybody better bring their notebooks though, because there's quite a few ingredients that go into that one. So yes, shall we go here, Seb? Let's walk this way. No, we're not. Rexon is pointing. What you got? He says we must go. I'm not going to run. We're going to take a shortcut down the road because Rexon is pointing. He's going like this. We'll quickly see what he's pointing at. Look. Hello, Inyala. Beautiful big Inyala bull. Watching Rexon at the moment as he walks. Quite relaxed. He's going to look at us next. Once he feels as though Rexon is further enough away, he should turn his attention to us. Hello, big boy. Now, the Inyala around here are fairly relaxed, and as long as you give them a bit of room, They're not too bothered by you at all, and in fact, he's actually more worried about Rexon than he is about us. Let's see what he does. Oh, he's going to come walking in our direction. Yes, this could be one of the snackers. However, not going for grapes or smoothies or chocolate, but something else. A favorite snack at the moment, let me quickly tell you, I don't think this Inyala will enjoy it, is a salty crack with cream cheese, pepper dews, and a little bit of biltong. Biltong is dried meat, specifically dried beef. This is amazing. I wonder, Seb, is he going to feed here? Or is he going to walk across the road? I'll be a bit cheeky. We're just off of the road now. I think he may actually just continue to walk right out past us. He stopped briefly. He's having a nibble. I'm not going to go and try and creep around the bushes because we're going to chase him. I'd rather him actually just come and walk right past us. Now, just because this animal is very relaxed with our presence, it doesn't mean that if I were to be cheeky and try and get too close to him, that he wouldn't charge me and headbutt me with those horns. So I'm not going to be doing that, because even an Inyala poses a threat. Here he comes. Look at this. This is amazing. Just coming right out, right past us. Not worried at all. Carol, yes, you're quite right. There is a purpose for the white markings on their face, especially around the eyes. You see it with kudu, we see it with lions. Is that any white markings underneath the eyes most certainly going to help cast light back into their eyes. So moonlight, starlight, which may in fact help them at night with sight. But Nyala don't have particularly good eyesight at night, but I think that they would need any help that they can, as they do live in dense vegetation. Obviously, he's just crossing a little open area now, but he'll go back into the thicket straight away. That's amazing. Hello, boy. Now look, he's erecting all his hair on his body. Looks like he's picked up the scent of something there. I don't know. Lara Mo, the way that he's erecting his hair, I'm wondering if he's going to do the slow dance. Does that mean I have to do it back at him? What happens if he decides that I'm an even match and then he wants to challenge me? Then I'm out. Then I'm absolutely out. I think what's happened here is he had his head down on the ground. He's now licking his lips. I think a female may have urinated down on the ground and he's perhaps trying to pick up a scent. I will not. You can go and watch James and Byron as they had an Inyala off one day. I'm not doing the slow Inyala dance. That is most certainly not happening. I'm done being ridiculous. This is now New Year, New Me, serious Taylor. Oh, he's going back again. Perhaps he wants to challenge Rexon. This is really cool. Again, we've been really spoiled. First the vervet monkeys, then that beautiful bird party, and now an Inyala. I don't even have to lower my voice. I'm speaking normal level. I don't need to hide myself. He knows I'm here. He's quite happy with us just standing here. And I think as long as we didn't shuffle around too much, that would have maybe given him a fright and he would have jumped off. He's fine. How great is that? What an amazing experience. And like I said, Nyala, bushbuck, they do tend to become quite relaxed around lodges and things like that. Not that we're close to a lodge. I don't know, maybe he's preoccupied. Anyways, I'm going to let him carry on with his morning. We're going to carry on with our morning. Off we go to Steve. He's also carrying on with his morning.
So we are. We've done a little bit of a loop around by Treehouse Dam. No sign of any tracks coming out there. We still happen to have the zebra with us, though. They'll be moving directly down this road. Even though we did a big loop around, we've managed to catch up with them again. You might just see a little bit of the dust as they just exploded in front of our car. I'm going to go and check the other dam now, twin dams. The tracks of that leopard sort of disappeared in the block there. I'm not sure which direction exactly. Here you have the beautiful bachelor herd once again. And when we got ahead of them earlier, oh, there we go, a little bit of kick in the face. When we got in front of this little group earlier, we actually found this the harem, the male stallion with his females, and he was standing at the back watching these males coming closer and giving them a little bit of an eye. I don't think they would attempt to challenge him. He's far bigger than they are. But they're very interested in following nonetheless. The African salute. The zebra's bottom as it disappears into the vegetation. And on we go. Just going to have a quick chat on the radio. I heard Aubrey mention something, but I'm not sure. Aubrey for Steve? I'll answer your question now, Zachary. Hi, Orbs. What did you call in there around Central, please? Okay, copied. So, Zachary, the stripes on a zebra, we call a group of zebra a dazzle, and essentially what those stripes do is they break up the outline of the zebra. When it's on its own, it's not really that clear, but as they move as a large group, up and down, up and down, up and down, they kind of melt into each other, they break the three-dimensional characteristic, and they kind of blend in to the surroundings. They become one large moving mass of water, for example, as you can see there, and that confuses the predator. The predator finds it hard to select out the individual they're looking for, and it works very, very well for the youngsters as well. The youngsters' legs are the same length as the adults, and they just melt into the background of moving zebra. So that's very, very right, Zachary. It is a camouflage, but more of a sort of a deception, a dazzling sort of trick of the light, which works very well in the favor of zebra. But on their own, I don't think it works very well. It works as a group. See if we can get in front of them. See if we can find the stallion with his ladies. Okay, so Aubrey didn't say too much on the radio. He said something about where he was, and when I asked him, he was basically just telling everyone where he was. So that was his update. Nothing too exciting. And here we have got a little youngster on the left with mommy, who's enjoying herself a mouthful of grass. And see how when the baby walks behind mum, how the legs are the same height. And ideally that helps to make it to sort of blend in and disappear. Obviously predators will always select the easiest prey source, and the youngsters are often much easier to catch than adults. And so with the stripes, the blending in camouflage, and legs the same length as mum, they quite easily melt into the background. So a young zebra like that would fall prey to a large male leopard. PT Watcher, apparently, you know, in the zebra herds, you've got the stallion who's got all of his ladies, and depending on when he accumulates those ladies, so almost you could call it his wives. The first wife, second wife, third wife, fourth wife. There's definitely a hierarchy in amongst them, and you can see through their behavior when it comes to drinking, when it comes to maybe a favorite scratching post, that there's always one that will be more dominant than the other, and there's kind of a hierarchy in that, in the harem. So basically his first wives all the way down to 3 or 4, that's generally about the sort of the max. I think zebras can get up to about herds of about 10, but that's about as large as they get. This sort of group, the bachelor group, or the group with the male and his females and youngsters, and slowly over time he'll let some of his daughters go to men like that are following. I hope that answers your question. We're going to go back over to Brent, who's continuing his birding morning, and let's see what he's found this time.
It flew away! It flew away! Oh, Dave. You see it? There. Wait, a little bit out, a little bit to the left. There we go, hopping. A little bit to the right, a little bit to the right, up. There we go, center frame. Down. BlackCrowned Hawk, one of the skulkers that's quite difficult to get. A little jaguar. Well, the brown snake eagle flew away, but it got us a more difficult species that doesn't sit around for too long. The BlackCrowned Hawk. You can see that. There we go, isn't that nice? Oh, And the stick on him, it looks like he's feeding off spiders. Now, can you still see him? Have a look. It is a black-crowned. For a second I thought it might be not a black-crowned, but a brown-crowned. I'm just trying to have a quick look at his facial markings. And it is definitely a black-crowned chagra. A black eye stripe, which is also present in the brown crown, but you can see that darker crown quite clearly there. Off he goes. Well, there we go. We do get both brown crowned and black crowned chagra here. It's always worth, especially when you're just seeing them through the thickets like that, to have a quick look. And I'm hoping we can catch up with this hyena, brown snake eagle, because they generally fly from conspicuous perch to conspicuous perch. And it took off from a dead tree and went towards the north. So we're going to do the same. We've been checking the area where Kachava likes to hang out. It doesn't look like she's around at the moment. And so no sign of any fresh tracks of leopards in the eastern side of Chitwa. So we're going to slowly make our way towards the northern boundary and potter our way back towards Djuma, while of course birding along the way. Now it's been a very good morning for birding. Lots of little bird parties coming out now that the mist's lifting. So hopefully we will... there we go. I told you, conspicuous perch to conspicuous perch, David. Now I'm going to stop a little bit far away, just in case it flies off, and then we'll try edge ourselves a little bit closer once we've got it in the bag, so to speak. Now, there we go. Now, if it turns its head, which it should do shortly, it'll give us a very... There we go, you can see that yellow eye quite nicely. Now, the bird that's most easily to get confused with a brown snake eagle is a juvenile batelier. Now, of course, juvenile bateliers, well, if you're starting birding, but there we go, that yellow eye is one of the distinguishing features. Also, the juvenile batelier, well, David, don't die from the consumption behind me. The juvenile bateliers don't sit nearly as upright. They're far more sort of horizontal when they're perched. Whereas the brown snake eagle is very vertical, very upright when it perches. Okay, let's try and sneak a little bit closer. Hopefully he doesn't fly off. Oh, he's gone. He did not hang about. Okay, so... Hello, Samu, who's only 9 years old, wants to know if there are any colourful changing birds. And let me just find some shade so the screen doesn't... so you can see the screen nicely. I think that's enough shade there, Dave. There we go. Dave is making me wipe my screen as well. David. Now I've pushed buttons while wiping the screen, David. Oh, David. I think probably one of the birds that shows the most changes. Why won't it work? Let's cancel that. David, you've broken it now with your wiping. There we go. That's what we're looking for. So, that's probably... Is that okay there, Dave? Yeah, so there we go. You can see how beautiful and colourful the long-tailed paradise wider is. And there we go. So that is the male. Oh, sorry. That is the non-breeding male there. So that's what he looks like when he's not trying to find a girlfriend. But when he's trying to find a girlfriend, he puts a suit on. So you can see it's quite a big change. Another one is also another wider that changes quite a lot. So... That's a male in trying to find girlfriends. Now let's find a male. There we go. That's a male when he's not trying to find a girlfriend. So this guy really puts on his pinstripe suit. He's called a pin-tailed wider, but you can see he puts on his tux when he's got to go looking for ladies. And he even puts on a bit of lipstick. Oh, that sounds like an elephant to you. It sounds like there's elephants down towards Chitwa Dam. Let's go have a look. I was desperate to see elephants yesterday. Maybe I'll get lucky today. Sounds like an elephant trumpet. They'll race down towards the dam. Who knows? Hopefully they're chasing wild dogs. One can always hope. Now, let's go across to Taylor, which the only elephant she's seen this morning is Maurice.
I haven't even seen Maurice. I don't know where he is. He's somewhere in my room, or perhaps he's somewhere in my camera box. Anyways, we are at a MudWallow, and this is a very... I'm being now shot today. You know, and I can't win. I'm always in trouble with somebody, and I've just come to realize this now, Final Control. Actually, Rebecca, who specifically sought our... Yes, you found Maurice, didn't you? Hey, Rebecca. She's now giving me all you... If you could only hear the things that she's shouting in my ear, I cannot even repeat them because I haven't seen Maurice for a while. Oh, well. Let's swat that fly quickly. Anyways, this MudWallow over here is like a sinking hole because lots of chirps today. What day is it? Wacky Wednesday. Apparently very chirpy in Final Control today. Anyways, what I want to try and tell you, I'm turning Rebecca off now so she can't interrupt me anymore. I'm just joking. Let's turn her back up now. This MudWallow, for the fourth time, is exceptionally deep. I'll never forget the one day I came around here and I thought I'd seen something in the MudWallow, but I wasn't sure. So I reversed, and there was a buffalo. I could just see his horn sticking up to his neck, completely covered. So I think if I were to jump into here, this MudWallow is probably going to be about this deep. So, not quite chest high, but sort of around where my ribs are. No, there's no ways. I'm not getting bilharzia. I'm fine, thank you very much. And I don't want to disappear into this MudWallow forever and never come out of it. So I'm okay with that. I will leave that to James to wade through all the sif water. Sif is a great South African word. It's really nice. It means disgusting. Oh, Rebecca's talking to me, but I did actually successfully turn you down. Looks like there were some hyenas going up and down and around here, coming to have a drink. We've actually seen hyenas playing in this water before. Carol, you're 100% correct. Basically, a MudWallow is just a big puddle, but how a MudWallow develops is, it starts off with a warthog who has gone, oh, look, an elephant footprint that is now filled up from the rain. Oh my goodness, fantastic. I'm going to put my bottom into it and I'm going to do a little wiggle and then it's going to get bigger. And then the warthog is going to go, hey Wilbur, you want to come and join me? Then Wilbur's going to go, of course I want to come and join you for a MudWallow. Why wouldn't I want to do that? And then Wilbur would come. Wilbur would then of course bring some uninvited guests, perhaps some ladies with him who would now also joining on the party. I don't think John would have complained about that. And there they would be wiggling away. I suppose it would be the equivalent of, I don't know, a disco weekend away or something along those lines for the warthog. Then the buffalo would come through and chase the warthogs away and go, I want a chance now. And it's filled up with more water, and then you get something like this. This is a very old MudWallow. It's happened over a very, very long period of time. It's even grown substantially since I've been here. Seb, I mean, you must remember this MudWallow from your early days. Tiny. So Seb obviously worked here quite a few years ago, and he's come back, and he's just said that it was so small. So every single year this MudWallow is going to grow. Obviously we need rain, so those years when we don't have any rain and we have a drought, it's going to stay the same size because, well, nobody likes to wallow in dry mud. Now do they? That wouldn't be very nice. So it's quite cool to watch this wallow grow. That's actually something we should have done. Next time we find a medium-sized one on the road somewhere, we'll take a screenshot of it, and as we go along, we'll try get all the guides, because obviously none of us are going to be here forever, but for as long as we're here, maybe we can try and watch MudWallow grow. How does that sound? Yay or nay? Can't hear you, obviously, but I'll read all the comments a little bit later. so yes, I think it's quite cool. It'll be a nice little project, something to keep us entertained on those very quiet days, which we have every now and then. Anyways, we're walking. We're going to start heading back towards camp now. We are a little way away, and myself, Rexon, and Sebastian are exceptionally hungry today. So we're also going to look for fruit along the way. Brent has got a birding challenge this morning. I'm sure he's going to add a few more to his list. He's back at Chitwa Dam.
Well, we're trying to figure out where those elephants that were shouting were. I was hoping they were down at the dam. I'm just going to have to switch off and have a little listen. But we've got a nice view of the fish eagle while we wait. Sitting out in the sun. It was a bit harder earlier this morning when all the mist was about. But a very nice view of the African fish eagle. And is that our mystery bird down there? The one we were coming back to look for a little later. You see next to the blacksmith lapwing on the little branch. Yes, there we go, Dave. I'm trying to see. Oh no, it's a pied wagtail. I'm just sitting funny in the light. There we go. Now he turns. You can see most definitely a pied wagtail. That's another one for our morning list. I can hear swallows and high up above us. Oh, palm swifts. Dave, this is going to be a challenge and a half. You see there's a swift that's very skinny compared to the others. Oh my goodness, I think it's going to be too hard. Oh, Davy, it's that one there. You see that one? There, that one that's scurrying around really, really quickly. I heard them calling. I'll show you what they look like. So I heard them calling above me, but sure, unless they're sitting, to get them on camera is near impossible, I'm afraid. Sorry, Dave. And they're right up in the blue as well, and they're tiny little spots. So swift, that's what we want to look at. Palm swifts are very, very easy to identify. Where's the palm swift? Pallid swift, mottled swift, scarce swift, horse swift, African palm swift. So, how's that, Dave? Is it okay? Or should I put it lower? There we go. So they're very, very skinny compared to the other swifts, and they've got a very, very long forked tail, and they're very easy to see in comparison to the other swifts. Now, I've got a feeling our mystery bird might be a swift as well. There's a Chitwa vehicle. I'm going to go ask them if they know where the elephants are. And I was racing towards. David, you must just be better to find swifts in the blue. Let's have a look. Crocodile's not out of the water yet. There goes the fish eagle, flying off. David trying to show us he can follow birds in the sky after he wasn't able to find the swifts. There's a green-backed heron. We didn't see them earlier this morning when we were here. See them there. You see that log hanging in the water? There we go. There we go, a little green-backed heron or striated heron. Very, very pretty. Enjoying the morning. There's their call, very distinct, not very pretty. I'm just going to ask Sheldon quickly if he saw those elephants. Sheldon. Sheldon, I had some audio of an Ndlovu around here. Did you happen to see them on your way in? Copy, thanks very much. So very interesting. Apparently they were running, throwing trees around, behaving quite badly on their way to the north. Because we were following their tracks. Okay, I'm going to go look for those elephants. There we go. You see the Chitwa vehicle enjoying the hippos this morning. It has been a beautiful morning. And we're going to start heading back towards Djuma now. See if we can find those elephants. It sounds like they might have crossed into Djuma. And I wonder why they were so upset. In the meantime, let's go to Steve, who's at another MudWallow.
I am. It's time for a coffee. We've had an interesting morning of just moving around, and I don't know where the tracks of that male leopard have gone. So come back, and always good to check all these little sort of pans and wallows in and around, because animals come here to drink. It's a good place to come and rest in the shade, always looking underneath. We bumped into Bushwalk team just moments ago on their way back as well. We thought we might just quickly stop and stretch the legs. And cheers, everybody. There's nothing quite like coffee. If you've ever been out on a game drive, there's nothing quite like this time of morning. We stop at a beautiful sort of waterhole. You bring out the coffee and all the snacks and all the treats. No, I'm not drinking water from the MudWallow. This is coffee. Coffee, homemade ground coffee with a plunger. You can even see the steam coming off it right now. I wouldn't want to interfere with my stomach by drinking what's in that MudWallow. So we're going to have one more ditch effort going into the drainage over here, the river, dry riverbed. Let's see what we happen to materialize or come up with. The temperature has risen. It is a lot warmer now. You wouldn't think it looking at Senzo wearing 2 blankets and the largest jacket in the world. But I think we have different heat tolerances. I have been on and off the car quite a bit. So 22 degrees Celsius and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So the temperature has risen quite dramatically. And it's going to be a very nice day. Cloudless skies. This is indicative of our winter months. Cold mornings. They warm up quite nicely. And then you have really clear and beautiful clear skies. No moisture vapor in the air. We're going to, I think, let's give, we've heard the tracks of Tundi are kind of in this area. Maybe we'll give a little bit of a one loop drive around onto this road here called Batsley, a little spaghetti junction in the Milwaukee drainage system. And who knows, we might be lucky. This road runs sort of... How did these roads get their names? Well, they're probably from about... Maybe the old farm names, maybe people invented them, like, for example, a Battalier Nest would have been here. I know a lot of the names are named by something that's quite obvious to the people locally, but then also a lot of people name them animal names in Shangaan or Tsonga, depending on where you are. For example, Nyala Road's probably, as they were driving around, they're like, oh look, there's a Nyala, let's call this Nyala Road. And then Mamba Road, well, they probably found a Mamba. Simple things like that. And I know that the Leopard Alley, which used to be called Jiga Jiga and Lela, which means to turn and to turn road, they probably found so many leopards on there, they've now changed it to Leopard Alley, which makes sense. And that is the road we were busy tracking that male leopard for a brief period. A little pan, constantly scanning under these trees. So this road, Battalier, runs along the sort of eastern side of the second drainage tributary that goes into the Milwaukee, and tracks of Tundi and Kabu on Tlalamba were on that side. So we might be lucky. Who knows? lastminuteleopard.com. Hashtag lastminuteleopard at Safari Live. Who knows? We could be lucky. Little bird party here. Looks like a whole lot of red-billed buffalo weavers. Oh, that's not buffalo weavers. In fact, starlings. There's one right here, Senzi. Right next to us here. Cape Colossi starling. Not going to let Brent have all the birds this morning. Oh, you could hear him calling. There's a few more of them on top of the tree up there. They got, oh, see, it looks like they are not wanting to be on camera this morning. Cape glossy starling with that beautiful iridescent blue. It's made up of carotenoids and melanin. The melanin strengthens it, and the carotenoids gives it that iridescent. Romit, we get crowned birds here. Yeah, the crowned eagle is a bird that we do get. Crowned lapwing. I think you asked is crowned. I think of crowned lapwing, crowned eagle, white crowned shrike, southern white crowned shrike. That's another one. So yes, we do. It sounds like a yellow-throated petronia up there. You can hear that yellow one up there, Sens. Yeah, that one. Indeed. You can hear that very characteristic 3-syllable call. He's got a white supercilium, that white line on the eye. You hear that call, very characteristic of the yellow-throated petronia. And if you look very closely, it's not easily seen, but there's a little yellow spot just on the throat. But they're far more easily identified by the call that is going off there. As he calls his territory in the morning. Hampus, there's probably a couple birds that I'd say are the most common. I think you'd look at the starlings for one, and then doves. I wouldn't be able to tell you which species. Lots of doves, lots of starlings in the area. But in the savannah, historically, the largest or most abundant group of birds that you get are called the, what are they called? The quelias, the red-billed quelias. I haven't seen too many at the moment, but they are the largest, and I quote David Attenborough here, they are the largest flocking birds in the world, occurring in the hundreds of thousands at one given time. But on game drives around here, we see lots and lots of this different starling species, the Cape glossy, the Burchell starling. There on the right of the screen is another very common bird as well, the fork-tailed drongo. We see plenty of them. The doves, laughing dove, Cape turtle dove, or the ringneck dove, are both very, very common as well. And from a common point of view, I think that's it for the moment. You do also get lots of red-billed buffalo weavers. Rainer, we've had a little bit of late rain, and there are still some migratory species around, purely because the insects have bloomed. Most of our birds that migrate are all insect specialists, and because we've had late rain, there's been another life cycle or hatching of nymphs and all sorts of insects. So we have still seen a number of our migratory birds around. I think Brent said he saw some barn swallows this morning. They're supposed to have left already, but you know, why leave? The reason for leaving is because of food. There's two reasons, the lack of food and the change in temperature, and it hasn't been that cold yet, and there's still abundance of aerial insects for them. I still saw a woodland kingfisher just 2 days ago. They should have left as well. The Wahlberg's eagles were also around, and they've just vanished. And yesterday I saw the European bee-eater, which was still around, and they should have left. Colin, there's a number of theories about how birds navigate. Some of them follow land features in the continents all the way north. They follow maybe the sound of waterfalls, geographic position. Some people believe they've even got an internal compass that navigates in a direction towards north. Some people even think that they use the stars. They follow by the stars at night. Sometimes they'll follow a coastline all the way up and all the way down. And then also, a lot of them actually follow their adults. So the European bee-eaters, the European roller, they apparently, when they're born in Europe, barn swallow as well, and then they'll follow adults down, and that's how they learn the first route. And sometimes they go back as well the same way, but every now and again they get a bit confused and they go the wrong way. For example, there was a European roller seen in Cape Town a few years ago, which means he did a complete reverse migration. Instead of facing north, he faced south and ended up in the very wrong area but his bad navigational genes will probably die with him. So that doesn't happen that often, but when it does happen, it's usually first-year birds. They are very, very new to the world, but there's lots and lots of theories about how it all works, and I know scientists are doing a lot of work on figuring exactly how these birds navigate. Georeferencing, there's a compass inside that's kind of like magnetizing them towards the north. How we know, very hard to say, but what we do know is that time and time again, some birds will actually come back to the exact same place they were last year. For a breeding pair that was in this garden, next year they'd be in the exact same garden. So very interesting. So let's go over to Taylor and see how she's managing to navigate home.
Well, we thought we'd take the path of most resistance at the moment as I navigate through this little bushwallow forest. I'm just going to come out in a second. I'm basically copying Hosanna from the other day, walking a very similar route that he once walked. He likes this area quite a bit, and I suspect he was moving around here last night at some point too, or Tingana perhaps. So I disappeared for a little bit, just a little bit, because I wanted to prove to everybody, which I will share the video a little bit later, that I can in fact jump over things without falling down. So I will share it with you once I'm back at camp, so you can see that I can actually do things. Rebecca's now going, impossible. Little fake laugh there. I'll show you, you'll see. How high did I jump? Hey Seb? Was it only that? I thought it was much higher. 2 meters high. Okay, apparently I'm not good enough to be on the show this morning, so they're telling me that I need to come home and that I'm finished and this is the end of this. I'm just joking. But anyway, Steve apparently has got something way more exciting to talk about.
Yes, okay, Taylor. How dramatic. We are on the road called Battalier, which actually should be called Nyala Road, because look what we found. We found a Nyala. There's the female, Nyala there. And lying up in the long grass behind her is a male. I wonder if you can see him. Do I need to go back, Sands? Just going to go back a couple inches. See if we can see. Just the horns were sticking out. There we go. And there he is. Moving around. You can see he's busy chewing. You can tell that by the movement of the horns. And you actually see in the bottom right of the picture, you can see him busy chewing. He's picked a nice shady spot, filled his belly with leaves and grasses, and now sitting in the shade, ruminating, having a nice meditation. And the relaxed nature of these two individuals is letting us know that there's probably no predator in the immediate vicinity. But amazingly camouflaged. Okay, so if we come back to the map quickly, I can show you exactly where we are. I've been saying lots of road names this morning, and we are now right over here somewhere. And when I said the spaghetti junction, that was because that's that junction over there, and there's a drainage depression that's running all the way through here, all the way to the east, and we are following that road this way, and the Nyala Road is on that side, and Tundi's tracks are here somewhere in this immediate area. So we're going to keep going around and see if we can maybe be lucky with her just materializing on the road. You know how that does happen from time to time. Raina, I don't know about whether they can identify each other through stripe. I think a lot of it's got to do with smell. I mean, to me, all Nyala males look identical, apart from maybe a little bit of differences in size. But olfactory communication in these animals is enormous, and they can smell. I mean, I don't know how many of you out there think, if you've had a child before, I'm only going to have an assumption here. You can all disagree with me, but when a child is very small, I don't think it's able to recognize who mom is or what she looks like, but definitely can smell her. You like pass a baby from mom to someone that's not the mother, and the baby just immediately starts crying. Same as from dad to another male, immediately starts crying because the smell is unfamiliar. When we jump back a few steps to the zebra, when they give birth, they spend a little bit of time away from the herd, and they reckon that the female and the baby imprint the mother's stripe pattern in their mind, and they also imprint the smell. So they know exactly who mum is in the enormous sort of confusion of stripes through smell and through an imprint of the stripes. How they know they imprint the stripes is beyond me, but I think smell is a very important factor in that sort of recognition. She is beautiful, and her boyfriend has decided to get up off of his rumination spot, and he is slowly following her here through. I think they've just realized that I told them they're not on Nyala Road, they're on Batalia, and they're going to go cross back onto Batalia now. I'm only joking, that's not what's happening. But that's as simple as it is. That's probably how names of roads get named. Twin Dams, for example, is a road running between one dam and another dam. Or maybe there were two dams at the base at one stage. Sends us agreeing with the second part. And then some of the names are named after the names or places. For example, there's Gowrie Cut Line, so that was a road that was basically the fence line between two reserves at one point, or two farms. Cheetah Cut Line, I don't know why, maybe they saw cheetah there. Or Cheetah Plains was on one side, I'm not sure. And then Rebecca was obviously FC Rebecca, who's chatting in my ear right now, is so famous. Her name has been there, imprinted for years to come. Or probably someone had a Rebecca nearby. You are very famous, Bex, very famous. There's a beautiful male Nyale. Okay, so Pippa and Yuri's daughter, the owners of Djuma, their daughter's name is Rebecca. So that's why some of the names are like that. Remember working, and Zoe is the other daughter, so that's another name. I know when I was at Kruger Park, Singita Kruger Park, two of the road names were named after the owner's sons. Oh, he's interested. He's giving her a little bit of a smell. All sorts of things through the olfactory cues, and if we got a little bit better look at him there, he probably would have activated the organ of Jacobson, lifting up the top lip to allow those pheromones to go into the brain. Okay, well, I don't know if Brent managed to find those elephants. Let's go over to him and see where he is at the moment.
Unfortunately, those elephants did not come across our boundary. They went into Little Gowrie. So I'm heading back towards quarantine because I still think Hosanna is knocking about in that area. And let's see if we can find him. So I'm going to check the western edges of quarantine, see if there's anything there, nice and slowly. I just got a report from Tax and Aubrey's that tracks of Tlalamba and Tandi are quite deep inside Torchwood. Well, not too deep, probably a couple of 100 meters inside Torchwood. And probably opposite Gwarri Pan area. That is where they are. And fresh tracks this morning, so they've obviously crossed probably yesterday afternoon or last night. I've still got a feeling Hassan is somewhere around here, so let's see if we get my luck. Okay. What are you shouting at, Squirrel? forever shouting at something, you lot, aren't you? Hello, squirrel. Are you shouting for the joy of the morning, or you were shouting for Hosanna? I think joy of the morning. Oh, down a hole. Scurried down into its little home. Got embarrassed that he was caught out making noise for no reason. Okay. Oh. Elephants were everywhere last night and nowhere to be seen this morning. Okay. Let us get moving. What did I spot there, David? Oh, I did spot a very pretty feather. Very blue. Now let's see if you guys can work out which bird this comes from. Very pretty feather. Let me just move my hand so it's not in the shadow. How's that? Let me turn it like, wait, how's that, Dave? There we go. Now, if you can figure out what bird that's from, hashtag Safari Live, let us know. In the meantime, I think we shall add it into my camp for the last little bit. There we go. Just so it's there to remind you to try figure out what it is. Now, so I think Asana didn't move too far last night. Oh, I forgot to tell you, the other update is I found Tingana's tracks going into Torchwood as well from Chitwa after you left us, when we went on our way to look for those elephants that were making a noise. Oh, too quick indeed. It is a lilac-breasted roller feather. Well done, Siberia. Okay. Now, I wonder if anyone's checked the far western edge of quarantine this morning. It's where I initially heard all the alarm calls at about 5:30. Oh, what's that up there? Ah, it is the bird that the feather belongs to. Well, belonged to it, now belongs to me. Oh, it flew away, Dave. But there was a roller there. I'm sure we'll see another one on our mission around the edges of quarantine. Well, I'm going to keep checking for any sign of a leopard close to camp. While we do that, let's send you back to Taylor, who's searching the tops of the trees for what?
We're looking into a buffalo thorn at the moment because I don't even know where Sebastian has now gone. What are you looking at, Seb? So Seb is trying to find the testiculars, and there was a Birchall's starling at one point too. There was quite a few birds sitting in this buffalo thorn, but then obviously they flew off because we are out, and they were going crazy, all chirping. So I'm now checking with my binoculars to see if I can actually see a snake just very, very slowly slithering through here. To me, it sounded like they were calling for a snake or something. I just hope it's not a mamba in that thicket of trees. I can't see anything in the buffalo thorn right now, so it could also be down on the ground. We won't test it too much. I did have a good look. I can't see anything. But you've all seen how well the snakes blend in, especially if it's something like a juvenile boomslang. You're not going to see it. Its grey body blends in very, very well with the colour of bark on a buffalo thorn, or for instance even a little shrub like this just slithering around on here. You'd have absolutely no idea that it was even there. It's always nice to find them though. It's very important to listen to what the animals say, which is how we most of the time are finding leopards and lions and things out here. So that was quite cool, but sadly no luck, no snake. No, nothing. So we've had all the leopard tracks coming down this way, down Twin Dams Road. We're just here near Wahlbergs, slowly making our way home now. And think Steve is obviously following these tracks though, but hasn't had any luck. It did warm up fairly quickly. Maybe the cats have just laid down for a sleep. We know that Tundi is somewhere between Hyena Road and Inyala Road North and Buffelshoek Dam. She's in that quadrant. There were no tracks of her coming out. So there are a few pans that she could come and drink from. Maybe this afternoon again. In the golden light, we'll catch her, which will be very, very exciting, don't you think? So, potential leopards for this afternoon. They beat us this morning. That's okay. Maybe Brent is going to get a last-minute leopard up here on quarantine, which are the big open plains behind camp. So, yeah, otherwise been fairly quiet. Haven't seen too many things. The morning bushwalks can be a little bit tough in terms of insect life, but in the afternoons we tend to see a lot more. Everyone's been busy. Just having a look on the ground. No, I thought I'd seen something, but I was imagining it. Right. So we started off the morning birding. Brent then carried it on. It seems as though Steve has finally joined us.
Always looking for the birds. We found ourselves a beautiful African hawk eagle, which I believe Brent has already shown you this morning. And he also said it's his favourite. Definitely one of my favourite eagles. I've got so many favourites though, it's hard to really put my head around. But there was a second one that flew off, and it's very nice to see that there is indeed a nest sort of in the lower canopy of the tree, just sort of below right from where the bird is at the moment. And I've never seen them nesting before in my life. There we go, in the bottom right of the screen. Sort of messy platform nest. Colin, I think the bird with the longest lifespan is the southern ground hornbill. They can live up until the 40s. So, if I'm not mistaken, maybe an ostrich. I don't know really enough about ostrich life cycles, but I know the southern ground hornbill definitely is one of the oldest birds I've encountered. But thinking about ostrich now, maybe could be an ostrich. Don't know. Maybe anyone else out there can answer that question. Does an ostrich live longer than 40 odd years? It's quite incredible because, I mean, that's the same lifespan of a rhino and a hippo, which is a very long time. I don't think these bird apps actually give you age of birds. It is, Kendall. Beautiful bird. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And they're always seen in twos. We obviously saw the second one just disappear a few moments before. Oh, I don't know where to find age of ostriches, but I know that through my research that the southern ground hornbill can live quite some time. Most raptors of this sort of age, well, this size, probably live up to between 8 and 15 years. Excuse me, a little bit of a scratchy throat. We're going to carry on along this road, heading back to camp, and who knows, maybe can you get that bird top left, Sens? The white-bellied sunbird has just landed on top there. Top left. Oh, there we go. White-bellied sunbird. We didn't get it. It disappeared. Very small. Very hard to capture the sunbirds on camera. They don't sit around for very long. They feed on a lot of nectar, and they get huge sugar rushes, so they're just constantly all over the place. Huge amounts of energy. Not as regal and patient as the hawk eagle sits in there. And marvelous camouflage. I just saw the face of something in there. And there it goes. A young kudu. Same family as the nyala we spotted before. And it was invisible to me. There we go with the light. The light reflecting off it. Beautiful colours in this light. And as we leave this kudu to its meanderings, let's go over to Brent, who's managed to find probably one of the most beautiful antelope around. And they're very common.
Oh, they are absolutely gorgeous. So elegant. Now, if I was a signer, I wouldn't move too far from the edges of the quarantine. I'd just wait for them to come to me. But I've just spotted an antelope that might rival the impala for its beauty and definitely for its majesty. A beautiful big boy as well. There we go. Let's see, he should pop out here shortly. Oh, lovely. What do you think, David? Oh, I don't know. He might rival the impala. What do you think? For beauty and majesty, a nice big male kudu. Looking for some shade and a snack. He's feeding off a Dicrostachys, or Chinese lantern tree, sometimes it's called, but most commonly known as the sickle bush. And you can see how they disappear. The camouflage works so well. Now, I know Taylor had some of these birds a little bit earlier. I can hear some. There we go, top of the tree wisteria there, David. Yes, there we go. Some woodhoopers making lots of noise. Or they're arrowmark babblers again. No, they're babblers again, babbling. And there were some woodhoopers as well, and now we've got two of the noisiest birds around together. Babblers and the woodhoopers have moved off. Oh, okay, let's keep moving. We are still looking for that last minute leopard. Where did it go? I just saw a little chin spot Battis, but he's disappeared through the other side. Okay. You win some, you lose some of the birds. Oh, he's out in the open again. Well, we've got two noisy birds on the edges of quarantine. We're going to send you across to possibly the most noisy of all the birds on quarantine this morning.
I was pretending. I wasn't actually saying anything, but I wanted to look like I was sassing and ranting, but I wasn't. Right. Home stretch. Dun, 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 because now I made a mistake by wearing this jersey. It is so hot. It is exceptionally warm. We're on the home stretch now. Rebecca's now chanting, take it off, take it off. That's a little bit inappropriate, don't you think, Rebecca? Anyways. Anyways, so I should not have worn this, but it was definitely nice for the first hour of walk. Now, I won't be doing any exercise today, because I'm just going to go, we've walked like almost 6 kilometers, and we're letting the sun beat down on us, so we're getting our sweat on as well. Hey, Seb? No, you've just got shorts and a t-shirt on. You're clever. I'm going to actually zip it up to put my hood on, make it even more difficult for myself. It's like being in a sauna. It's just amazing how the temperature sort of just changes from early in the morning being freezing cold, and then in the afternoons getting exceptionally warm. So the open plains are looking a little bit quiet. You know what would have been a nice way to end the walk off is that, do you remember that one time, I always say this, when I got out of the car and I actually sat just over here. Let's go and have a look. Let's cross the road quickly. There's a little termite mound. It's not quite a big one, but it's more underneath the ground. And there was a colony of mongoose that were living here. I don't know if they're still living here. We can check. And I sat here for ages and ages waiting for them to come out. And they were all in these little holes, and they were popping their heads out. Actually, they could still be living here. Look. Oh, I'm so sorry that I did that, termites. I thought it was a loose stick. I feel terrible. Look at me, I'm a horrible person. I didn't mean to do that. I pulled a stick out thinking that it was just loose, but it actually a termite's home. But they'll survive. They'll recover. They'll go under there very quickly. I'm very sorry, termites. I really didn't mean to do that to you. Quickly, escape the sun. Get away. Don't call the soldiers. I didn't mean to. What I was trying to do was poke this stick, the dung, of course, from the mongoose that you can see. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I feel so guilty. Absolutely. Oh no. Please don't think I'm a horrible person for doing that. I really didn't mean to do it. I really thought it was just a playing stick, and it wasn't. It was the home, part of the home of some termites. They'll be okay though. They'll disappear. They'll repair it. There are a couple of little soldiers out too. One of these ones with the bigger heads on them in comparison to the others. Look like they maybe are the soldiers, and there's some smaller ones. They're all going back now. They realize it isn't actually a threat. It was just Taylor again. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. But anyways, you can see, look at that one. Sneezing is a common thread amongst myself and Steve this morning. Anyways, fresh mongoose dung, or relatively fresh mongoose dung from the last couple of days, so they must still be using this little termite mound at some point. I reckon they've all come out of their holes though and gone foraging, looking for delicious things to eat, perhaps things like termites, maybe some that are a little bit bigger. A couple of little flies as well. But it's been a very exciting morning, filled with Brent doing birding, our beautiful sounds of the bush, seeing the green wood hoopus, the crested barbets, the monkeys shouting at us was quite cool too. And Steve and he had zebra, that was quite nice. And lots of tracking that are hopefully going to lead us to leopards this afternoon. But anyways, thank you very much for all your questions. And we'll see you again this afternoon on the Sunset Safari. Bye-bye.